Rojo. There's a man named Liaozhai in Jimo County who grew up poor. One year, when it happened that their family name, Luo, was among those who wanted a man to become a soldier in the northern frontier, the tribe decided to call him. For years in northern Xinjiang, Mr. Luo married a wife and gave birth to a son. The garrison on the team treated him well. Soon after, the guard was promoted to the rank of officer and was going to Shaanxi to become a general. He planned to take Luozu with him. He entrusted his wife and children to a friend, surnamed Li, to take care of them, and went to Shaanxi with the guards. 3 years. At one point, Luozu heard that General Shen wanted to send a letter to Beijing, and asked him to send the letter, so that he could use the opportunity to visit his wife and son after a long time. The admiral agreed. Mr. Luo was relieved to see his wife at home. But I found a pair of men's shoes under my bed, and I thought, where are the men's shoes that I haven't been home for 3 years? Murphy. I went to Li's house with my wife to thank him for his care over the past 3 years. A friend surnamed Li came back to see him, cooked a meal and put out a wine, and urged his wife to eat and drink. His wife also said how well Li had taken care of her for 3 years. He was a great benefactor, and Luozu said many words of thanks. The next day, Mr. Luo told his wife, I have to send a letter for the general. I can't come back at night. Don't wait for me. Finish up, right off. Instead of delivering the mail, he found a place to hide nearby and returned at night. When he entered the door, his wife was asleep in bed with Li, and he said shameless things. He was so angry that he crashed the door into the interior. Terrified, his wife, surnamed Li, crawled to him on her knees on the ground and said, We're not human beings. We deserve to die. I thought of you as a human being. And since you're such a monster, killing you has sullied my knife. Well, my wife and son, you want my soldiers, and you'll be my soldiers. The horses and weapons are here, and I'm gone. Just say it and go. Luo's neighbors found out about it and went to the government. The government took Li's name and tortured him. All confessions from Li. However, apart from Li's confession, there was no evidence, no physical evidence, and no sufficient basis for sentencing him. I've got people looking for Rojo. There's no shadow. The government suspects that Li killed Luozu and imposed heavier punishment on Li and Luo's wife. A year later, both men and women died in prison, and the authorities sent Mr. Luo's son back to his hometown, Jimo. After a long time, a firewood hunter from Shiqiang village went into the mountain and often saw a Taoist sitting in a cave, but never saw him descend to the mountains to plead for food. The news came as a surprise to everyone. What did he eat and live for? We'll bring him food. Somebody knows this Taoist. It's either someone else or Rojo. The food was packed with caves, and Mr. Luo never eaten anything. To see him means to hate so many people visiting him. And gradually, very few people do. Years later, when the grass outside the cave grew as tall as a tree, he was occasionally seen inside the cave, still sitting where he had not moved. It was a long time before he was seen walking up the hill, and when he approached, he was gone again. And then I went back to the hole, and I sat there, and the dust on my clothes was the same. People were even more surprised, and after a few more days, they saw his nose collapsing, and they knew that he was already sitting dead. His neighbor built a Luozu temple in his honor. Every March, incense burns. His son goes to burn incense. People call him Rojo Jr., and he gets the money for the incense. His descendants still spend years collecting cash for incense. This story was told to me by Yeshui Liu Zongyu in great detail. I laughed and said, monks who come out now don't want to be sage, but want to be Buddhists. Please tell them to put down their knives if they want to become Buddhas.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.